Alright, so hello everyone. My name is Hafifuddin Iqmal bin Zam, and here are my group mates. We are going to present about autism and dyslexia. So, first thing first, we're going to look and see what autism is all about. Alright, so as we all know, every year on the 2nd of April, it's World Autism Awareness Day throughout the world. Its main point of doing this is to raise awareness about people with autistic spectrum disorders throughout the world. Alright, so moving next is I found this on Astro Awani. So here are the statistics of children with autism as at May 2017. These are one of the data that I can get, the latest. Right, so when we talk about autism, what comes to your mind? What is normal people's perspective of autism? Is it some kids with this kind of looks? Right, so autism is basically a claim from Greek words, means odd, that actually means self. So what does it mean by self? It means that they used to be alone in their own world. And right, so here are the history of autism. Autism in 1940s, researchers in the United States began to use autism to describe children with emotional or social problems. Back in the 1940s, they don't have specific terms to call the children with emotional or social problems kids. So they basically just call every kid that has this kind of trouble, this kind of problem with autism. Alright, so now let's take a look of the real definition of autism. It's a neuro impairment in social interaction and developmental language and communication skills. There are three components here: social interaction, developmental language, and communication skills, and combined with rigid repetitive behavior. Well, what causes autism? Well, what causes autism is actually unknown. Okay, so scientists don't know yet what can cause autism, but experts have suggested that it is believed that genetic, environment, and psychological factors contribute towards autism. Right, so next, let's take a look at the symptom. How do you recognize that if people have autism? So first thing first, they have inability to easily communicate and interact with others and the environment. They also will show difficulty interpreting body language, also called non-verbal communication or holding a conversation. So these are major symptoms of autism. They will struggle in communicate and interact with others. That, let's say, if people shows he is sad, people with autism will interpret that probably that the people is happy. Right. So here are a little bit more symptoms of autism. So here are the symptoms of autism. They normally will have trouble making eye contact, difficulty listening. There are many types of autism actually, and one of it, slow to respond to verbal requests. Some of them were very passive. They sometimes don't respond at all when you say don't do this and don't do that. They keep on doing it, like they don't know how to respond to that action, the request. So not able to sustain a long back and forth conversation. Okay, so other than that, they will also sensitive to changes in noise, light, other sensory outputs. So if you put an autism people in some place which they used to that place, okay, so they will go there every day as they get comfortable, and then suddenly you guys want to change that. You know, some days you want to bring the autism guy to somewhere else, they will have some trouble to cope with that changes. Okay, so next is the great ability to remember detailed facts and numbers. Okay, so alright, so next one is dyslexia. I'm going to brief you guys about dyslexia, but first of all, we're going to take a look at the statistic for dyslexia. This is in school, from the school, both primary and secondary school. So you guys can see, it's you know, from my readings, it says dyslexia and autism both were pandemics, but in a slow pace, like this graph. Right? And dyslexia, what is it? It's a specific developmental disability that alters the way the brain processes written materials. Okay, so written materials, because dyslexia is due to a defect in the brain's processing of graphic symbols. So it's basically they were unable to process written material. This is what is more or less what is this definition trying to say. Right, so here are the example of what I'm trying to say, what the definition means actually. So normal people like us, we were able to write, to susun these words. However, people with dyslexia, they are having so much problems in organizing the words like we can. So here are some fun thing that you guys can try here. Right, try to read this. Okay, so how was it? Frustrating. So here are the simulation of what people with dyslexia see. Most of them sees. Okay, so yeah, so people with dyslexia, they tend to misinterpret D, they thought it was B, so something like that. Okay, so some of them are having hard time in reading, writing, speaking, or even spelling. Sounds like a MWET test: reading, writing, spelling. Right, so what causes dyslexia? Caused by impairments in the brain's ability to process phonemes, the smallest unit speech that make words different from each other. So there are three types of dyslexia: primary, secondary, and trauma IQ. Based on what I found, the first one, primary, most common type of dyslexia. Individuals have possibility to be academically successful. So secondary, dyslexia caused by problems with brain development during the early stages of fetal development. Developmental dyslexia diminishes as the child matures. So normally it's like they were born with dyslexia, but after that dyslexia diminishes as the child matures, as the age of the child increasing, so the dyslexia is decreasing as well. Next one is a trauma IQ. So this is a very rare dyslexia type. It occurs after some form of brain trauma or injury to the area of the brain that controls reading and writing. So some people have concussion or something else that triggers the part of their brain that controls reading and writing. Right. So here are a few symptoms, actually many symptoms of how to know that the people have dyslexia. So the first one is problems recognizing the differences between similar sounds or segmenting words. Okay, so next, difficulty with learning reading, writing, and spelling skills. Difficulty copying from the board or a book. Okay, so next, here are a few more symptoms of how to recognize if the people have dyslexia. The child normally may appear to be uncoordinated and have difficulty with organized sports or games. For example, if you try to do management games, okay, we are very famous in our class, I know, about management games. Dyslexic people are having a hard time to figure out how to play the games. Okay, so difficulty remembering or understanding what he hears. Okay, so recalling the sequences of things or more than one command at a time can be difficult. So act out, drawing attention away from their learning difficulty. So normally after you try to teach dyslexic people, they are having a hard time to understanding it, so they will draw attention away. They cannot focus anymore. They said it's hard for them, so it's no point for them to keep on hearing what you try to teach. Okay, so last one, lose their interest in school related activities and appear to be unmotivated or lazy. Yeah, this is the same thing as this one.
Assalamualaikum and a good day to you. My name is Muhammad Amir Haziq and I would like to continue the presentation on topic autism and dyslexia treatment. For autism, there is no cure, but have several approaches can help to improve social functioning, learning, and quality for life for both children and adults with autism. The autism is a spectrum based on condition. Some people may need little to no treatment. Others may require intensive therapy. There is suggest therapy for autism, which is applied behavior analysis, discrete trail training, positive behavior, sensory integration therapy, speech therapy, and medication. ABA, or called Applied Behavior Analysis, is one of the most widely used autism treatment for both adults and children. It refers to a series of techniques designed to encourage positive behavior using a reward system. There are several types of ABA. Is discrete trial training. This technique uses a series of trials to encourage step-by-step learning. Correct behaviors and answers are rewarded and mistakes are ignored. Then positive behavior. This involves making environmental changes to the home or classroom in order to make good behavior feel more. Next is sensory integration therapy. People with autism are sometimes usually affected by sensory input, such as sight, sound, or smell. Social integration therapy is based on the theory that having some of your sense apply make it hard to learn and display positive. Speech therapy is teach verbal skill that can help people with autism communicate better. It usually done with either a speech or language. Then is medication. There is have no any medication that designed to treat autism. However, several medications used for other conditions. Treatment for dyslexia is a direct instruction. Instruction must be a clear, systematic, step-by-step instruction with a full explanation. Next is a multiple linguistic approach. Language component, sound, letter symbol, word meaning is must connected to one another. Transcription skill. People who have dyslexia is having a problem to write and spell. So we have to teach them how to spell and write correctly. Then is sentence practice and construction multisensory organ is them have to practice over and over again to make it perfect.
Drop top Porsche, rollie on my wrist, diamonds up and down my chain. Cardi B straight.
Assalamualaikum and hi. My name is Ahmad Iqmal and I would like to continue the presentation on topic important safety and health consideration when involving people with autism and dyslexia during recreational and leisure activity. For autism, there are 4 safety health considerations you should know. First, communication. Second, challenging behavior. Third, social interaction. And fourth, sensory issue. Communication is the process of exchanging of information by speaking, writing, or using some other medium. For people with autism, they have limited ability to communicate and interact with others. It is because people with autism often self-absorbed and seems to exist in a private world. People with autism may have difficulty developing language skill and understanding what others say to them. They also often have difficulty communicating verbally, such as through hand gesture, eye contact, and facial expression. They also may be unable to understand body language and the meaning of different vocal tones. They also difficult to express their feelings or needs in typical ways. Here are some short video. The next one is challenging behavior. Behavior is the way in which one acts or conduct oneself. For people with autism, their behavior are different with others. They often restricted, rigid, and even obsessive in their behavior, activity, and interest. As an example, repetitive body movement, obsessive attachment to unusual object, and clumsiness. Children with autism tend to be less spontaneous than others. They may have trouble with functional play that have a basic intended use, such as toy tools. They usually don't engage in group games, imitate others, or use their toys in creative way. There are some challenging behaviors such as be aggressive or have tantrum and hurt themselves or other children. The next one is social interaction. Social interaction is the process by which we act and react to those around us. For people with autism, they have problem with their social interaction. It is because they don't understand how to greet people or how to maintain a conversation. They are also difficult to make a friend because they have social skill problem. The next one is sensory issue. Sensory issue occur when a child has difficult time receiving and responding to information from their senses. Sensory issue often accompany autism. Autism sensory issue can involve both hypersensitivity and hyposensitivity to a wide range of stimuli. This can involve sight, sound, smells, taste, touch, balance, and body awareness. As example, many people with autism are hypersensitivity to bright light. Certain people with autism sensitive to sound, smells, and taste overwhelming. Dyslexia. The safety and health consideration are attention issue, emotional, and confusing with letters, numbers, and direction. One is attention issue. People with dyslexia tend to have attention issue. Attention issue can affect the people with dyslexia learning process. People with dyslexia are easily to distract or annoyed by noises and other things in environment. This will lead the person with dyslexia to lose focus when they are distraction from environment. The second one is emotional. People with dyslexia tend to feel frustrating and exhausting in understanding what they're reading. People with dyslexia can feel anxiety, anger, and depression. They feel anxiety because of their constant frustration and confusion in school. They also can feel depression because of their low self-esteem, and they're afraid to turn their anger toward their environment and instead turn it toward themselves. The third one is confusing with letter, numbers, and direction. People with dyslexia are confused with letter because they use different parts of the brain to reading. This makes it hard to recognize short familiar words or to sound out a word. They take time of reading and focus with the meaning of the word. Their reading comprehension is poor. They also tend to confuse left and right and maybe have trouble. Next, we go to the why safety and health is important during leisure and recreation activity. The first reason is to avoid serious injury. People with autism is hard to control because of their behavior such as tantrum. This will make them to hurt themselves or other people and will make the physical activity be very difficult to control. The second reason is to control their attitude. To control person with autism and dyslexia attitude is important to make them safe and the flow of the activity become easier. To control their attitude is not an easy task. It's because patience is needed when handling this type of people. So their attitude need to be controlled to make the activity easier. The third reason is to ensure they can enjoy the activity well. Safety is important, but if the activity did not have fun, it will make them boring and did not want to do the activity. So the fun element must have in the activity to attract them to participate in the activity. Next, we go to the ways to keep them healthy and safe. The first way is parents should tell the teacher if their children is sick. This will help teacher to take precaution steps and give more attention to them. This will help the children safe and healthy from the worst condition if they do the activity. Second way is teacher give more attention to lowest autism. Lowest autism must get full attention by the teacher. It is because they require substantial support from teacher. They are impaired in social communication or interaction and lack of social or emotional reciprocity. The third way is simplify language and give one instruction at one time. This will help people with the autism and dyslexia to understand what they need to do in the activity and help them in their learning. This also make the activity flow become easier. That's all from us. Thank you for listening.